It's your favorite Compas, and we have you covered with plenty of NFL content on this episode. Gilbert and I give our biggest takeaways from week 2 of the preseason and Compas on the NFL beat. We also get into some fantasy football with Andy Holloway of fantasy footballers in rapid fire. We get into the Colts giving Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade. All that plus we bring on Dan and Dago and Victor Producer for burials of the week, avocado roast, and plenty of other things. And that reminds me, Gilberto, don't you have a question for our viewers and or listeners?
Yeah, Fernando, we got a lot of NFL content, and we got an interview, and because fantasy football, draft season, and I'm gonna ask you nothing related about football. I'm asking for the engagement question of the week, and more of a LA centric question here. So if you're in LA, did you feel the earthquake? How did you experience the hurricane? Because I'm gonna get into my story because it was quite an experience. But hopefully everybody's safe. But let me know how you kind of managed through the whole. I was gonna say Hillary Clinton, Hillary Hurricane. There you go. But it was a lot of media coverage surrounding Hurricane Hillary. But if you experienced the hurricane and the earthquake, let us know in the comments your kind of quick story if you want, and we'll share our story for the episode here. And if you're not from the LA area, let us know in the comments. Have you ever experienced an earthquake? Maybe you're on the East Coast and you're laughing at people in LA. Let us know about that too as well.
I know people in Florida are laughing at us
They are.
and New Orleans and everything. Uh, I think the earthquake was Sean O'Malley winning that UFC
Oh,
championship. But speaking of another guy who won over the weekend, Dan and Dago, let's go to him now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome all to another glorious Wednesday. I know what you're thinking. You hear that voice and you think it's Dan and Dago. Yeah, let me tell you something. That stooge tries to hold me down. That scumbag tries to keep me in the shadows. But let me tell you something. That scumbag, Gilberto, can never keep your boy down. I got that dog in me. Don't you worry about that. But anyway, do not forget, now we are officially on the road to 2K subscribers. Shout out to all of you. We appreciate all the love. Don't forget to be a compa, tell a compa. And do not forget, we got another jam-packed episode for you, all with compas on the NFL beat. What? You got compas on the little LA beat. What? You got rapid fire? What? Then you got the boys coming in and just raising all kinds of hell. You already know that's my specialty. Your boy Dan and Dago specialty. It is what it is. But anyway, enough of the dilly-dally, Dan and Dago. Let's get to it. All the way from across the hallway. Play the music, Nando.
Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I'm Fernando Ramirez. I cover the Chargers for the Sporting Tribune. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano. He covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated. What's up, bro?
what's up, Fernando? You know what? I'm a little disappointed with you right now. I just realized you didn't text me if I was okay surviving that earthquake, man. But yeah.
I saw you retweeting stories from Sports Illustrated, so I was like, oh, he's fine.
Okay, that's the way you find out. But
Yeah.
the funny thing, the first thing you do when you feel an earthquake, you go to Twitter or X, whatever the hell it's called. I'm never gonna call it X. I just did it, but it's gonna be Twitter forever. And did you notice, Fernando, when you do a retweet, they now put it as a repost?
Repost.
So
Yeah.
annoying. But yeah, that's the first thing I did after the earthquake. Hurricane watch, Hurricane Hillary, not Hillary Clinton. Okay, just to say that again
Like
one
you
more
said at
time.
the beginning.
Yeah, but yeah, I felt the earthquake. Saw some rain come down, and I think you were safe too. You were not at SoFi Stadium for this
No,
game that
I
did
did not
occur.
attend. Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I kept on hearing that it was gonna be really bad. And wow, there's a guy that looks like Vic the producer at the Padres game. So there was I thought that there was a chance that I was gonna get caught on my way up and get caught on the way back. So
Oof.
I'm like, you know what? There's
Imagine
no point. Huh?
that
Well,
would have been bad if you tried it. Yeah, you play it
exactly.
safe.
No,
Yeah.
and Uncle Joe told Uncle Joe Reedy from the AP, he told me that on the way back from SoFi, right around where he lives, which he lives in the Anaheim, Irvine area, that's where it really started hitting hard. Well, guess what's after that? It's my neck of the woods coming down to San Diego. So I think it would have just been terrible rain. And I mean, I know how to ride, I know how to drive in the rain and everything, but it's like, come on, it's preseason. Like,
yeah, you're not gonna. That's why I felt bad for our Charger beat reporter friends like Jeff
yeah.
and Popper being out there, and I'm like, man, there's. I honestly would have asked myself if I was still covering that team. I probably would have bailed on going to that game.
Did you see the Saints beat writers?
That's the second thing I thought. I'm like, man, for them to go to Southern California, experience some nice weather, with Thursday, Friday for the joint practice, and then had to deal with all that, which is familiar to them, I'm assuming. But then also get an earthquake. I'm like, oh man, you're probably regretting making that trip to LA. But then again,
well, not just that, but they were tweeting out the whole time, like, why is this happening? Why hasn't the NFL canceled this? Like, everybody else has moved their things. Why is the NFL still going along with this? So,
dude, like baseball can't postpone some games, right? Even like I saw like the
MLS
teams, who cares anyways? But yeah,
the Padres moved their game. They moved their Sunday game to a doubleheader on Saturday. So if you had tickets for Sunday's game, you could come to the early game and you could watch it that way. So yeah, I mean, I didn't understand it either, but I mean, obviously, contrary to Beyonce's belief, girls don't run the world, money does. So money talks here, and that's the reason why the game was played. So yeah, that's the main reason why I thought that game was played.
I guess so, but it must have been 200 people. NFL Mike was there. I saw him doing content.
I saw Joe Morley was there too.
Okay, all right, yeah,
with,
and
his son. Joe actually told me, he's like, my wife was like, yeah, no, we don't want to go. And then he's like, come on, who cares, this, that. So he ended up making it to the game. And I started laughing. I'm like, well, I guess you won in the end. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's only a little bit of drizzle outside. He's like, yeah, the earthquake kind of added something, but it's only drizzling. And I started laughing.
You know what's kind of the funny thing, Fernando, about like trying to cover the league from home? Like, it was Raiders, Rams Saturday, and then Charger Saints. So that meant I was watching a lot of local channels. So they were just blowing up the coverage of Hurricane Hilary. Rain's coming down. Now there's an earthquake. Oh my. There's a bunch of live coverage like
worse.
In LA.
Yeah, because down here, I mean, they kept on doing wall-to-wall coverage, but I'm like, what are you guys really doing? Like, I get it. It is kind of raining, but that's all that's happening. Like, there's nothing like the strong winds died down. Like, you want to see extreme, go down to what happened in Mexico and Mazatlan and all those areas. That's where it hit hard. Like, that's where you saw the flooding, all the high winds, like cars were getting moved. Like, that's all. But here, nope.
Hey, it's all about ratings and LA TV local channels. They love the rain coverage.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean at NBC down here in San Diego, they sent, where Julian is, right? Yeah. So they sent a reporter out to Julian. He was going to spend the night out there so that he could go through everything that was happening. I'm like, really? Like, I was like, I guess. Like, I'm like, it's not like that serious, but I guess people love weather. I guess. I mean, honestly, I learned this while working at NBC in San Diego. The most famous person or the most famous reporter, whatever you want, is always the weather person. So like, they're always the most famous person. They're probably the ones that make the big bucks. Why? Because everybody likes seeing them and the people are informed. But newsflash to all the weather people out there, you got it wrong. So it wasn't as hard as you guys thought. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting. Saturday, actually, I went to Viejas Casino with my 92-year-old aunt. My mom, Daniel, and I took her out there. So one of my cousins was getting married over the weekend, and my aunt couldn't make it because she hasn't been feeling up to being on an airplane for 3 hours. He got married in Guadalajara. So my aunt's like, no, I can't go. And she felt really bad and really sad. So we're like, hey, what do you want to go do? What's something that you haven't done? She's like, I want to go to Viejas. And we're like, oh, okay. So we took her to the casino, and I just went shopping. I mean, unless it's in Vegas with you and Pop, I don't gamble. So I decided not to.
That one time,
I decided not to do it while Daniel and Jeff were drinking at the bar. But I decided not to gamble. And then it was funny because we were leaving, and some lady asked my aunt, did you have a nice time? She's like, no. And then she's like, why? She's like, I lost $50. I didn't win anything. She's like, I should have won something. And then she starts like, we all just started laughing. And then she's like, no, but she's like, whoever's going to say that they had a nice time when they were losing, nobody. And so we all just started laughing. So, but it was a good time. And then obviously Friday, Dan and Dago's game was actually really it came down to the last play. So it was a lot of it was a good little weekend before.
So it's a victory episode on Compas on the Beat.
Yeah, exactly. So he obviously did a great job. He was rocking some Jordan. I got him some black and green Jordans for his first game. So he was rocking them. I was like, oh wow, like and then in one of those he took a knee and I'm like, oh God, I'm like, creases, dude. I'm like, put that foot back. Don't creases.
Just me thinking about that hurt too.
Oh my God, I know. That's why I'm like, it was funny. One time at church, my mom got so mad because we had a kneel and I was wearing brand new Kobe's and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And so I took off the Kobe's and I just kneeled like that. And she's like, Daniel's like, nobody wants to smell your how your feet smell. And I just started laughing. I'm like, hey, I'm my creases. And he just started laughing. That's always the running joke with my family with me. They're always like, oh, here creases. I just started laughing. I'm like, yeah, you don't want creases.
Yeah, no, I think I feel like the same. But my style will be I guess crouching more. It'll be bad for my knees. But I don't know about that.
I don't know how catchers do that for
okay. That's 100.
Well, what do they probably play if healthy 120, 130 games?
Yeah, that's why they don't last as long, I guess. Maybe
I don't know.
I'm watching the stat there.
By the way, you and Caroline haven't done anything. You haven't gotten anything new as of late. I mean,
is that you want a story? Is that what you want?
I mean, I've kind of been like, you guys usually do something interesting, and I haven't heard one in a while. But that's because training camp.
Yeah, that too. And then I've been on the road, and then this week storm watch, so we stayed at home. And then we did have a Korean barbecue on Friday, so that was nice.
Sick invite. I'm surprised you guys didn't go like kayaking through the streets of LA.
Yeah, did you see all the videos of the shark being in the water?
Oh, I saw that, but that was fake.
Footage from Universal Studios, and people were buying it.
Yeah, I know. You know what's funny though? So here in San Diego, there's a huge hill that goes straight down. People go and have picnics there and everything. Well, I guess some like frat guys from SDSU, I think, they put a huge water slide down the thing and they were just slipping and sliding down the hill. It looked honestly amazing. But obviously I wasn't going to go over there, but it just looked badass. Like I was like, oh, that's actually pretty sick.
I just saw a TikTok of nowadays you can't even have a slip and slide because California have a drought, so that's illegal, sir.
Well, it was raining, so it was free.
Sorry.
But all right, Gilbert, let's get on to Compas on the NFL. Beat.
Don't.
Gilbert, I know you were like you said, you were keeping your eye on different players, different games this weekend. What did you see? What did you hear?
Yeah, I don't like how I'm gonna start this, but maybe Victor will. But it's that time of year where you keep getting your brain fed with positive notes from the summer. Everybody's in the best shape of their life, and it's a new chapter, new coaching staff, new players, 0-0, whatever. But maybe I've been hanging around with the Raiders too much, and the more I think about it, and the more I'm watching Jimmy G operate and seeing Davante Adams, and it's just on the offensive side. I'm not gonna give him praise yet on defense, but I think the Raiders have something offensively where it's just. It won't be an explosive offense, but I'm liking that it's a balanced attack. And Josh Jacobs sounds like he'll be back before the season. No way you're going to pass him $10 million guaranteed, right? So control the ball with Josh Jacobs and Jimmy G having a fast start against the Rams, keep in mind. And again, I'm not trying to say they're going to be really good, but I was thinking the Raiders are going to be like one of these teams are going to tank for Caleb Williams. Now I'm thinking, hey, maybe a wild card. That team 2 years ago where they surprised people and they made it to the playoffs, right? When they beat the Chargers in Week 18. Sorry for the reminder, Dan Dago. But they weren't supposed to make the playoffs that year. It feels like this team might be better than that team, and maybe they hover around the 7th seed, and I'm liking, at least offensively. But then you look at the defense, it's going to be pretty bad with what they have with Max Crosby. But if they're controlling the clock, with kind of this old school play style with Josh Jacobs, if he returns and Jimmy's just doing his job with Davante Adams, maybe having Jimmy operate an offense is better than having Derek Carr fighting with Josh McDaniels. I don't know, Fernando. What do you think? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit.
You're in preseason mode, bro.
I am, but you don't think the offense would be better? Let's just focus on the offense. How about that?
My question is, if they start off rough, 1-5, 1-4, Davante's gonna get antsy. He's gonna want out. He's gonna be like, dude, what is he, 29, almost 30 years old? But I was thinking about it. That running back, I like that running back that they have. I like their offensive line. I think their offensive line is actually not bad. I just don't trust Josh McDaniels, the head coach.
That's fair.
And that's my thing. I can't trust him. I think that offensive line is good. I think Josh needs to be careful right now, bro. Who's that running? They have a running back that right now is running really well. I just can't remember his name.
Zamir White?
That guy. Yeah, Zamir White.
Yeah, but he's gonna be forgotten by the time Josh Jacobs come back.
But I'm saying, okay, but could the Raiders one up and just be like, why are we paying this guy $10.1 million when we can pay that guy? And, I mean, I know that's kind of the theme right now with running backs. The only thing is, if you rescind, I bet you Josh's agent would call the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs and be like, hey, who wants him? Come get him.
Yeah.
Go. He wants to play against the Raiders twice a year. But I get it, but their defense is what worries me. And I know their defensive line is good, but the other areas are kind of what has me a little bit questioning them. And I just want to see what Jimmy G is like without Kyle Shanahan in there, because we didn't really see much of him when he was with Josh McDaniels in New England. Without Kyle Shanahan, what's he going to look like? So that's my question. Like, what's all this going to have? Like, how long until Devontae kind of gets frustrated, and can they keep it up? I mean, you have the Denver Broncos in week 1. That defense is pretty good. You're gonna face some tough competition. But I understand where you're coming from, though. I mean, it might not be like you just need Jimmy to not mess up, I guess, in a sense.
And he's good at giving the playmakers the ball to create, you know.
But the problem is Jimmy gonna be the kind of like Derek Carr was with Darren Waller at the beginning, and then he kind of turned like that with Devontae Adams last year, where he's like, F it, where's Devontae Adams, and just throw it up and stuff like that. So that's my question, but I understand where you're coming from, though. The offensive line is good. They have some weapons. It looks like Hunter Renfrow is having a strong training camp from everything I've read. So I do believe it, but that's the problem. The head coach is just that's what I can't trust. And I know that they're bringing the Patriot way over, but I just don't know if that I just don't know. I just can't trust Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, and I'm not ready to fight you. I'm not at that point at all. But I just wanted to say they're on my radar, and let's just leave it at that. And let me give you a couple quick fast items, and you want to pick on something to counter. If not, we can move on. But I was forced to watch preseason football week 2 because there's a story at si.com. Check it out. Ding, ding, ding. Where I have all my takeaways there. I need to update it because there's a Monday Night Football game. But there's 15 games up there with my point of view. And I just want to say real quick, maybe the Trey Lance supporters are going to tell me, not so fast, Gilberto Antonio Manzano. There you go. Because he had a fourth quarter game where he came back and he had some good results. I really like CJ Stroud. Fernando, what'd you say?
Oh, I just said it's preseason.
Oh, I know. And it's there's a third.
No, not to you, to them.
No, I know, but I'm saying people would tell me that. But he did do something. But that was the fourth quarter against the third stringers. CJ Stroud's second drive, I watched that. Pretty impressive. Showed command, poise. That's a good sign for a rookie. Will Anderson Jr., the guy that gave up a first round pick. So maybe something Houston was right on right there. And then DTR, Victor, eat crow, because Dorian Thompson Robinson from the Browns is doing well. But again, it's preseason.
I'd love to see that kid become like a Cordell Stewart or an Antoine Randall, something like that. Like, do something like, if you can't find your way on the field as a quarterback, because it's going to be tough. I mean, but that's another team. The Browns are another team that I'm like, their ceiling could be, holy crap, like they take over that division. Their like their bottom tier could be, they could only win 3 or 4 games, and then they end up in the Caleb Williams. Well, I mean, could they end up in the Caleb?
You gave him the entire contract.
Yeah, no, you guaranteed his whole contract. So,
hey, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is out there. So,
but is that like, would you? Okay, no, if you're Marvin Harrison Jr.'s agent, would you want him to go into that mess? Like, that would be crazy. But
I'm glad you stopped on Cleveland, because they do have a very talented roster, but I don't know how to feel about them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's like the Raiders are a team that I don't know how to feel about. The Browns are another team I don't know how to feel about. There's certain teams that I don't know how to feel about, but obviously we'll get into that when we get closer to the season. But yeah, no, I agree with you. By the way, did you see Trevor Penning against Tuli?
Yeah, you got it. You got it now.
Yeah. Did you see that was a night that
Yeah,
not a
good
lot of
matchup.
even veteran pass rushers don't really do that whole swim move thing. I was really impressed, especially because Trevor Penning was a first round draft pick last year.
Yeah, he went to work on him a couple of times. I saw that.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty impressive. Just because I guess the swim move was kind of like not a lot of people do it as much. Like they don't do it as much as they used to. Because obviously, like an offensive lineman can go up and Dan Dago would know more, but you get hit in the ribs and they could do other stuff. But I thought I actually found that move very impressing, and I was like, wow, okay. I was like, that was pretty impressive. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I was impressed by Will Anderson and Gilbert. I keep on telling you, I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to go 2-for-1 next year. They're going to get Caleb Williams and they're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not going to go off of that, but
they'll have Houston to thank. But if Will Anderson Jr. is playing like a stud, outside linebacker, then maybe you don't think about it twice. But we'll see.
No, 100%. I completely agree with you. The only thing is, like, can you imagine if they go 3-for-3 and next year they try and jump up back in and just get Marvin Harrison Jr. for CJ Stroud? But I mean, obviously that'd be nice, way into the future. Gilbert, this was something interesting that I saw on social media. A lot of people were talking about it. When they talk about it, the Compas have to talk about it. Colin Cowherd came out and he had his list of and he said by the end of the season, these are going to be the top quarterback receiver duos in the NFL. So we have it right here for all you listeners. I'm going to read off from it first, and then Gilbert and I will get into it. Number 1, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. 2, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley. 3, Mahomes, Kelsey. 4, Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. 5, Derek Chipotle Carr and Chris Olave. 6, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. By the way, Stephen A. Smith, you were wrong, bro. He didn't ask for a trade, according to him. 7, Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. Number 8, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. 9, Tumbling Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. And then 10, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Whoa.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, because you told me let's make fun of this list, and I
didn't say let's make fun. I said let's analyze it.
It's analyzed.
And let's look it over.
Yeah, and I didn't want to look at it until we got here. I wanted to be surprised on my own. And
by the way, Volume Sports, we are open for business.
There you go. You could be a sponsor. But then again, I'm gonna be that technical guy where I'm like, it's supposed to be quarterback, wide receiver. Travis Kelce is a tight end.
I love watching Travis Kelce play.
So I guess that could be kind of like, it's okay. Maybe it's like a little asterisk at the bottom.
To me, how is that not number 1?
Yeah, I was gonna say. They need to be higher or at least above Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley. What have they done to be up here? What, a couple of preseasons?
Well, he said by the end of the season, this is gonna be yeah.
All right, fine. If you're gonna get technical, then take off Kelsey because he's not a wide receiver. But okay, now I'm nitpicking. I like that potential duo, but not that high. Number 2, I gotta get some kind of glimpse. Like I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. Wilson's gonna be a nice playmaker, and then Derek Carr and Olave. I know Olave is real good too, but Michael Thomas is being healthy. But then again, he's always healthy this time of year, then he gets hurt. So I don't know about that one. And then maybe you could address this one, Fernando, but obviously there's no Justin Herbert or Keenan Allen or Mike Williams or whatever it is that you want to do. I really like Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. The quarterbacks are kind of so-so, but they deserve to be on the list because those wide receivers are really good. But yeah, I think like the back order is fine. I don't like the top 5. It's all out of whack, and Derek Carr and Olave should not be that high either.
I don't even think Derek Carr and Olave should be on this list. I think Olave is great, but I don't know about Derek Carr being on this list. Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, the only reason why you're putting them on there is because of Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I actually thought, and you're going to be, number 9, that to me, I thought they should have been higher because it's Tyreek Hill. But I understand the reason why they're putting him that low, though, is because you don't know if Tua's going to be in there or who's going to be not just Tua. But, you also have the other guy on the other side, Jalen Waddle. I think this year we're going to be talking more about Jalen Waddle than we will about Tyreek Hill. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but
it kind of is, because for some reason I'm not a big fan of Jalen Waddle. I don't know what it is, but really? Yeah. yeah. I don't know. He's really explosive, but he has some drops and a little inconsistent. But that's the story for another day. But yeah.
I'm with. So there's two that come to mind. Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown are on this list. Like,
oh yeah, I didn't even think about it. There's so many duels. Yeah,
they
okay.
just only made it to the Super Bowl last year. Like,
Yeah,
I guess that doesn't
would have
count
had
for
them top
anything.
5 somewhere.
That had to have been top. That has to be top 5. And like you said, Justin Herbert. And the thing is, I'm going to be completely honest. I just don't think anybody trusts Keenan Allen and Mike Williams right now to stay healthy. So I think that's the reason why they were let off this list. But if it was just Herbert alone, obviously he's on this list, but you just don't know which receiver is going to be the one that. But Gilbert, you've been there. I've been there. From what we've seen, that Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert connection isn't going anywhere. And you know what's funny? Andy Holloway. And don't forget, guys, Andy Holloway. We did speak to him. That is coming up next. Don't forget to check that out. But Andy told me, and I didn't think about this, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, he's completely right. He's like, Keenan Allen's style of play doesn't have a 5-year window, a 6-year window, the same way maybe a Tyreek Hill, some of these other guys who are fast, and at one point their speed kind of goes a little bit. He's like, the way Keenan plays, he can age gracefully. And I was like, oh wow, you know what? I hadn't even thought about that. And yeah, that is true. The way Keenan plays, he could play another 3-4 years at a high level, relatively, like from the 1 to 20 top receiver spots or whatever. But Kirk Cousins, that Dak Prescott one, I can't go with that either. And CeeDee Lamb, I don't know for what reason. I just don't trust the Cowboys, and I feel like,
but
I trust CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb is great.
I like Dak better than Tua though, and I really like CeeDee Lamb.
Oh no, I do too. But my problem is that with and I feel like everybody's doing the same thing this year with the Cowboys. Is everybody's like, dude, the Cowboys are coming. They have 2 of the best corners in the NFL, and Stephon.
One of those eventually they got to break through. It feels like that kind of pick,
Yeah, but it just feels like with Tony Romo, they did the same thing. Like they were like, oh, this is a make it or break it year for Tony, and he ends up getting hurt, and Dak Prescott comes in, and here comes Ezekiel Elliott as well.
We should have a rankings for teams that need to make it or break it. Like the Chargers are going to be on there.
We'll do it next week.
The Cowboys need to be on there. The 49ers need to be on there.
The Bills
and the Bengals. So we got 5 right
Man,
there. Enough of enough.
You know what's funny? This is a make it or break it year for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I know everybody's talking about Justin Herbert and he needs to get in the playoffs and win a playoff game, but remember, T. Higgins is owed a contract next. Joe Burrow still hasn't gotten paid, and Jamar Chase is coming up too. I don't know if you're going to be able to keep all 3 of them. I think you're going to be able to keep 2, and it's going to be Burrow and Chase. I don't see them keeping T. Higgins. So I mean, that's
Joe Burrow and T. Higgins might be better than Derek Carr and Chris Olave.
And you know what's funny? That's not even a hot take either.
Yeah.
That's
what's perfect? Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown at 10. I really like
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like that.
But Goff at 10, that sounds right.
By the way, I saw Jameson Williams him play, and he hasn't gotten it. Like he's not there.
He hurt
like,
again, right? He got hurt,
and
then
he got hurt, and he's going to be suspended when he comes back. So I don't know, dude. I'm really really hesitant on him. So
it's like, remember those early years of the Lions where they kept drafting 1st-round wide receivers and they only hit on one, like Megatron. And
yeah. You know, it's funny. I have a buddy who's a huge Raiders fan, and he always brings up, like, whenever towards the end of the season, when the Raiders are playing bad, he always texts me the same picture, and it's who the Raiders drafted and who was the next pick after them back in like the Jamarcus Russell days. I'm like, bro, you're just making he actually showed me, I forgot where he lives. He lives in LA. He actually blew that up, and he has it as a poster in his man cave. The like who they could have drafted next. I'm like, when are you gonna take that down? He's like, when the Raiders win a Super Bowl. I'm like, damn. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it'll be interesting. So that's something like Joe Morley would do, I think. So but going back to this list, Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley, the only reason why I can't put them at 2 is because you haven't seen them, and I know it's for when the season ends, but you haven't seen anything about them. Like, you don't even know if Calvin Ridley's gonna be able to hold up or what's gonna happen. So, and I mean, Calvin Ridley, before the gambling thing, he had left for mental health reasons. So there's a little
He
bit.
hasn't had a good year since 2020, Fernando. Like he got hurt.
And we
He
got
got
to see him that year.
the mental health issue. So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just thought that this would be a good list to kind of check out. I thought you would get a.
No, yeah, it made me laugh, and it made me also, have a little nice debate. So it's not the worst list I've ever seen, but yeah, if you're gonna count Kelsey as a wide receiver, they should be at least top 2.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, Gilbert. Now let's go to our interview with Andy Holloway and Gilbert. It's gonna be a fun one. We talk about you, so make sure you tune in because it's gonna be a good one. We have a grand guest. Some might call him a megastar in the fantasy football community. Of course, I'm talking about the great Andy Holloway, a host from the Fantasy Footballers podcast. They will be in LA. They have a show upcoming at the Palace Theater on August 26th. Don't forget to go check them out. Hey, do you want to win your fantasy football league? This is the guy to do it. You don't want to be that guy that has to go have dinner with a teddy bear and look like you're ridiculous because you lost your fantasy league. Andy and his guys, Jason Moore and Mike Wright, can help you win this. So go check them out at the Palace Theater, August 26th. Tickets still available on Ticketmaster. But Andy, thank you so much for joining the show. My co-host, unfortunately, couldn't be here, but he loves listening to your show. How are you doing? And are you excited about fantasy football? It's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of year where you're just inundated with so much news, which makes it so exciting. Anticipation for the season. Everybody in their fantasy league is undefeated right now, so they're feeling good. And, yeah, we're so excited. Excited to be out in LA for that live show. And it's going to be a great time, the energy. And, look, people love their fantasy football, and we're here to help you for sure.
And yeah, I want to ask you, I want to get into some stuff right now, but holy crap, I'm looking behind you, and you have a hoverboard from Back to the Future 2. I just geeked out right now. Like, that is awesome. Where can I get one of those?
You know what? I don't even know the answer to where you can get one because it was a gift from the other two guys. They gave it to me for a birthday a bunch of years back because we are certainly Back to the Future fans. And, yeah, we've got all sorts of little pop culture stuff around the studio, but yeah, that was a cool gift to get, and love those movies.
You know what? I actually have a Turbo Man doll sitting right in front of me. I usually have my background and everything, but I have a different set. I just had to move, but I have a Turbo Man doll that I bought myself because as a kid, I always wanted one. I wanted to do the full Turbo Man thing, but obviously I had to get one myself, and now I have one. So I geeked out. So now I need a hoverboard. That's my next.
There you go. Next thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Andy, you tweeted out earlier this month about some lessons learned about starting the podcast. Looking back, what are some things that you do differently, and what advice would you give to those who are starting out?
Wow, it's a good question. We get asked the kind of starting out question a lot, just because podcasting is so accessible now, right? Like it doesn't take a ton of overhead to get going and get started building a podcast. Get a microphone, get some software, and then start posting episodes. One of the things that I go back to as a foundation is just connection with the listenership. The podcasting medium is so unique. The radio has always been kind of feels a little bit more of a distance, but podcasting, you're built into the routine of people. And if you're not yourself, if you're not authentic, if they're not connecting with you, I feel like your chance of succeeding, it goes out the window. So I always tell people, be yourself, bring whatever unique thing it is to the table as a podcaster. And, if it's something that brings value, then you're going to find listenership and success. And, it's been almost 9 years now that we've been doing this podcast. We thought we were late to the game when we started. So I would say, nobody's late to the game. Just if you have something unique to bring and you have a passion behind it, because you're going to need the passion if you're going to persist through a lot of episodes and stuff. I'm sure you know that. So, yeah, we've learned a lot over the years. We've learned to entrust important tasks and things to our staff that, a bunch of really talented people that know how to do things well. And, I'm a very type A guy, so I like to control a lot of things. And I think over the years I've learned to just, you can hand that stuff off to people that are trustworthy and smart and talented and better than me at stuff. So, yeah, a lot of lessons over the years, but having a passion behind what you do is probably at the top of the list.
Yeah, no, well said. That is, I completely agree with everything you just said. What are some of the tips that you have on how to approach a fantasy draft? Pursue value over all else. Don't draft according to rankings. Zero running backs, or just go with the upside in the middle and later rounds. Like what's kind of the strategy?
Yeah, this is one of the first years in a while that we've seen a lot of wide receivers go earlier in drafts. I think people have been burnt by running backs early with injuries and having expectations not being met, and then you had big seasons from wide receivers. Cooper Kupp's been great before the injury, and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, so Tyreek Hill. People feel like they can count on that wide receiver position, so that's a trend that's happening this year is more wide receivers going earlier. I think the first thing you said, looking at value is always the fundamental, most important thing that you can do. It's not just about liking a player. It's about knowing where you can take the player in a draft. There are times when you want a guy, but you can get him around later. Finding the ability to, or maybe the patience in yourself to wait that extra round to get that value it's really an important step. And knowing the platform you're playing on. One of the tools that we try to provide the listeners with is ADP, which is average draft position. It varies by platform. So if you play on ESPN or you play on Yahoo or you play on Sleeper, it's going to change. And so unfortunately, the way it works in fantasy is like that ADP shows up on your screen if you're drafting online, and players in your league are going to draft according to it. So trying to find value is always the key.
So you just mentioned Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. How's your gritty? Is it good or?
Oh gosh, it's awful. No, I'm a bird. I'm an awkward
you're like
bird flapping my wings. Yeah.
Like
I mean, all of our family, my family, we're a bunch of bird dancers, so you don't want to see that, man. I'm too tall to do the gritty. I don't know.
I love that. What's one mistake that you see people make every year during their fantasy draft?
One of the biggest newbie mistakes is certainly overvaluing the quarterback position in general, because it's not one-to-one. It's not, the NFL, it is 100% the most important position. You don't win without a quarterback. And, in fantasy, you can wait because, most leagues are 10 or 12 teams. And, you got 32 NFL teams. So you've got only 10 to 12 starters in a fantasy league where you have to start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So I think, not overvaluing the position that you naturally think is the most important going into your fantasy league is very, very – that's a key. Another newbie mistake I see is just valuing players on your home team too much. I want you to take players you want to root for, but, having 5 of them on your home team probably not the best idea.
The same bye week and everything.
You walk into – because the problem there is if your home team stinks – now your fantasy team stinks too. You don't need to double up on the pain.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Is it still wise to my bad. Sorry. Have receivers now become the high commodity? I mean, you were talking about that right now over running backs. Is that kind of a trend that you've gotten the last few years? I mean, because we see how disgruntled they are right now with contracts and the way they're getting paid. But do you feel in the fantasy world also it kind of receivers are kind of taking over a little bit?
Yeah, I do. And I think you're bringing up the contract thing is a good point, because the contract thing is kind of coming out of the reality that, bell cow backs are now a commodity. Like there aren't a lot of them, and teams are learning that they can win with committees. Philadelphia went to the Super Bowl with a bunch of backs getting time. Kansas City won the Super Bowl with Pacheco and McKinnon and a bunch of backs getting time.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't even.
No, he wasn't even healthy. I mean, I think he kind of came back for a play or two. It was like, so if teams are learning they can win that way, and it's cheaper, then you're going to have fewer teams with the commodities of the. Austin Eckler gets a ton of work. Jonathan Taylor was a bell cow a couple of years ago. Saquon Barkley, probably Bijan this year. But because there's so few of those, I think the ability to kind of know when to go in on those guys can be hindered. And, the wide receivers are getting paid big money to do big things. And so, it's probably swinging the pendulum too far, because you're going to have injuries at the wide receiver position. All players can get injured, and you may have people swing the pendulum back next year. But I do think that because of the contract stuff, maybe it's going to be more of a permanent change.
Who do you think is the Vontae Mack of the 2023 fantasy draft, the player that you're drafting no matter what?
Yeah, people have asked kind of like where I'd want to be in the draft, in a fantasy draft in the first round. Right now, it's kind of like the top 2 spots, like the CMC, Justin Jefferson. They're the locked and loaded guarantees. There's some players I have great high confidence in, like Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, assuming Joe Burrow is healthy. Those are guys that top of the draft, very confident. If I'm getting later on, second, third round, I'm starting to look at guys like Chris Olave out of New Orleans, who I think is kind of a can't-miss pick. If you look at the quarterback position later, hometown guy Justin Herbert, I'm targeting him because he kind of disappointed on his high draft capital in fantasy last year.
Yeah.
So the pendulum swung, and now, you got this new offense, and I'm not leaving a lot of drafts without him in the 5th, 6th round.
Who's the Bo Callahan of this draft? Who are you just like, I would kind of stay away from him?
Yeah, I think there are a handful of, like Dallas, I'm a little worried about what Dak's going to be able to do from a fantasy perspective because, losing Kellen Moore, who went to Los Angeles, they're going to slow down that offense a little bit, and he's been turnover prone, so I am not drafting Dak right now in any of my leagues. That's definitely one of the names that sticks out.
Now, obviously, we look over at the Chargers, and like I cover the LA Chargers. Austin Eckler, what do you see from him this year? I mean, 38 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. I mean, he obviously gets in the end zone. Where do you see his value at this year?
It's hard to bet against Austin Eckler doing what he's done, to be honest. He has been incredibly efficient. You talked about the touchdowns, like his touchdowns per touch over the last 2 years has been an outlier. Like it's not a normal number, although he's not a normal player, right? So you have to look at those things, and like we've had the privilege of having him on the show a couple of times. He is so in tune with the fantasy football community. He went out this year on another podcast and literally said, I'm looking for that 20 touchdown mark. Like it doesn't always work out that way. They're hard to predict. We've all seen the getting dragged down on the one type of situation, but he's aiming for 20. They don't have competition that I have confidence in. I don't know if you're in that same boat, but behind him at running back,
No.
There's not a name that you have any sort of trust in. So those are the things you look at for continuity and being able to do it over and over again. You got the variable, the new offensive coordinator, but he's not a dummy. He knows to get the ball in the hands of Austin Eckler. So I'm expecting more of the same this year on an offense that there are a lot of fantasy expectations on.
The guy over your right shoulder, a lot of people are very excited about him. Kellen Moore's offense, everything surrounding this, all the weapons that he has. Do you feel like he is going to be, I don't want to call him a fantasy sleeper because last year his numbers, like you said, they weren't there. But this year, I kind of feel like everybody's expecting, like, again, if healthy, that's going to be the name of my book when I write a book about the Chargers.
Healthy. Yeah, no kidding.
Or what if? I don't know. Either one.
Yeah, I hear you.
What do you see the value of Justin Herbert in this year's fantasy?
He's a great fantasy pick this year because the value, you're not investing on a top performer like Mahomes, Hurts, and Allen are the top 3 guys from last year. You have to pay a 2nd or 3rd round pick for them. Justin Herbert's going in the 5th or 6th round. He's going around Justin Fields. And both of those guys are amazing targets in the middle of the draft because you saw last year was a bit of a disappointment just because the touchdown totals were not up where they should have been. He still threw the ball a ton, so many pass attempts, dealt with injuries, right? If they're healthy. The rib injury that he had to recover from, not as mobile. On the surface, without the Chargers disclaimers, he looks like a great pick, but the Chargers also are great in terms of giving you an expectation, maybe not delivering. So I hope it comes through. I know all 3 of us here at the show, we love him this year.
One guy that I keep on throwing his name out there just because I think with the weapons that the Chargers have and Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, he might shine is Quentin Johnston. For some reason, I feel like he could be a guy. What do you make of him? Do you feel like he could, in the later, obviously, the back end of the draft?
I think it's a great name to bring up. I mean, you have, like, Keenan Allen is a tried and true first down machine. He's 31 years old. Like, there's going to be a slowdown at the wide receiver position for him. Maybe not this year. I mean, his skill set is conducive to aging, at least.
It really is.
But yeah, I mean, Mike Williams hasn't stayed healthy. Quentin Johnston's a huge body, done so much this preseason that has been impressive. And I think, you talk about an offense that, if he throws 40 touchdowns, right, which is not outlandish, there's no way Quentin Johnston isn't a value in fantasy if he throws that many because The guy is just too big, too strong. From what I've seen, at least in camp, and you're going to know even better than I will, covering the team closely, this guy has made plays, and that's what they're looking for in this offense. It's going to be hard to stop an offense if you do have a healthy, again, if healthy, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston. Very excited about that.
Now let's turn our attention real quick to. I'm almost done with you. I don't want to keep you too long,
good, man.
I appreciate your time. Andy Holloway, host of the Fantasy Footballers podcast. Make sure you check that out, and make sure you check out their show out here in LA on August 26th.
You got it.
They're going to be there at the. They're going to be there at the Palace Theater. Don't forget, Ticketmaster has you covered. Make sure you guys get your tickets. But when you look at the Rams, give me one. I mean, they're kind of a team of what ifs. Also, like, can Matthew Stafford stay healthy? Cooper Kupp. Give me a guy there that you think is it Van Jefferson, the guy that maybe some people should be looking at?
Yeah, no, I think you brought up Van Jefferson. Great name. This was a team that was 27th in points scored last year. Because the quarterback position, you had an injured Matthew Stafford and things fell apart. The offensive line was a problem. If Stafford's healthy and they're back in form, they're not going to be 27th again. So you're going to find value on this offense. You can't just expect last year to be a repeat. I think the two names that are coming up in fantasy a lot, like it's easy to say, okay, draft Cooper Kupp. Everybody knows that. But, what's the role going to be for Van Jefferson? Is he going to be a solidified number 2 option in the offense? Is Tyler Higbee going to catch a ton of passes, even if they're not high-value touches? That's valuable in fantasy. And then the running back, Cam Akers, who ended the year strongly after a tumultuous, wild year where it seemed like they wanted him off the roster. All of a sudden, he's just given the ball a ton over the last part of the season. So those are the 3 names that people are kind of like, we're peering our eyes up over the berm and we're looking and saying, like, maybe these guys are going to be values if Matthew Stafford stays healthy because Sean McVay is not going to let them do what they did last year.
No, I completely agree. Last one for me. I got to tell you something, Andy. Gilbert and I are in a fantasy league. He's not here. I'm here. Give me the secret. Give me one player that I need to draft because I am going to beat Gilbert. Last year, let me tell you, Lamar Jackson screwed me. Like, if I would have had him at the end of the season, I think I win my fantasy league. I think I was 3rd place. I think I would have won if Lamar was there. But give me one player that I should be on the lookout for, that I should draft later rounds, whatever. Give me one X factor that I need.
I'm going to bring up a name that Jason loves, that he's going to talk more about this offseason. But I'm going to bring up Jordan Addison's name in Minnesota.
Ooh.
So the rookie, opposite side of a guy that demands so much coverage in Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison's going into 7th, 8th round, maybe later in your home leagues where people aren't paying attention to these rookie names, haven't seen them, haven't seen the trading cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Jordan Addison's a name to pay attention to. And another rookie, I'm going to throw it out there. Jason's not here to stop me. Dalton Kincaid, tight end, Buffalo Bills, another rookie. They don't generally contribute a lot as rookies, but he's not really a tight end. He's a wide receiver. So if you're bringing up wide receivers that have made huge impacts as rookies, Dalton Kincaid, great quarterback in Josh Allen, an offense that moves the football. Those are 2 names I'll throw your way, and we'll see if you can take out your co-host.
I love that. Addison is fast on and off the field.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, no. I got you.
I knew you were going to get that one.
Let's hope it's only on the field from now on.
Yeah, I know. No, he's a good guy. I met him actually twice out here.
Did you?
So
Yeah.
Really good guy. Really good.
He needs to slow it down off the field. Yeah.
Exactly. But Andy, thank you so much for joining Compas on the Beat. You're officially now a compa. Compa in Spanish means buddy, pal. So you're a compa. I appreciate you having you on. Don't forget, Andy Holloway and the Fantasy Footballers will be in LA pretty soon. August 26th, Ticketmaster, the Palace Theater. Do you guys want to win your fantasy league, or do you want to be on the side of the road with a sign saying I'm a loser, I lost my fantasy league? These guys can help you. Make sure you guys check it out. Andy, thank you so much for joining Compas on the Beat. We appreciate you.
Yeah, had a great time. Thank you for having me.
So, Gilbert, what are you going to do when you lose the league this year and I win? Like, I got some good insight from Andy Holloway. I mean, I thought he really had some fun stuff. And don't forget, guys, they will be in town August 23rd. 23rd. So make sure you guys check that out. But man, he gave me some really good insight on not just who to avoid. Man, he said to avoid your boy Dak Prescott fantasy wise. So, but yeah, no, some good stuff from Andy, and I had a lot of fun chatting it up with him.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out that I didn't get to be part of this interview because I do listen to their podcast, but I haven't been doing too well. So maybe it is their fault. I'm gonna blame the Fantasy Footballers podcast. Nah, just kidding.
Well, you also got to watch Cam Akers and Max Crosby touch
Yeah,
gloves.
I saw a fight there, but I'd rather listen to Andy Holloway give me some knowledge because my draft is coming up. So, or our draft, by the way,
Yeah.
because you're part of it too. But yeah, no, they do a great job, and I've been listening to those guys since I want to say my Vegas days. So they've been helping me out for a while.
Well, yeah, he said he's been at it for 9 years, and he told me, he's like, hey, continue doing what you guys are doing, and you'll get there eventually. And I'm like, oh, I appreciate it. He's like, yeah, just keep on growing your fan base. And I'm like, yeah, we have some loyal listeners, especially when I go to like Chargers camp and everybody's like, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? What's up, bro? And I'm like, oh, hey, how are you guys doing? I feel like people think I'm like awkward because I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? And they're just like, oh, but definitely some good stuff. But Gilbert, it is time now for Compas on the LA beat. And I got to ask you, I'm curious. Everybody's been saying, like, some people said that Cam Akers had to be taken to the back because he got really roughed up. Is that true? Like, did he get touched up or
no?
I saw him tweeting, and I love how people tweet after the touch up and all that stuff happens. But like, give me the insight. What happened? Give me the skinny.
No, they were both wearing helmets. Like there's such a he's the dumb one for throwing a punch when he's wearing a helmet. So like overall, like it wasn't a good look for Cam Akers, but he didn't get the combo from Sean O'Malley. Like they were wearing helmets, like he was fine. And then he was just walking off the field with his helmet off because like, why are you gonna wear? I like he takes off the helmet after the fight, but that's fine too. But the only thing I saw was like he was just frustrated with a guy who likes to talk a lot. You know, he's a big yapper and he's a good player, so he gets in your head a lot. And then when the defensive end is running down the field to chase you to knock the ball loose, that's annoying. But don't throw a punch. And obviously, Sean McVay was not here for an excuse, and he said that type of nonsense. Immediately, you get to go back to the locker room. So that was pretty much what it was. I don't think it was like
welcome, Gilberto. I'm not gonna put up with that. I mean, that sounds like what the team is all about.
Yeah, your Sean McVay's a little southern, but you're close there. But he was annoyed when people were asking questions about the fight. He's like, no nonsense. And then I threw one at the end, and I'm like, oh, just like old times, kind of give him a little.
There he goes. There he goes. He had to ask one. So Raiders and Rams was interesting. Was there anything interesting besides that, or?
Well, that's
what I saw certain people saying the offensive line is dominating the defensive line of the Raiders is dominating the offensive line of the Rams. I'm like, well, that's what everybody's been talking about.
Max Crosby plays there, and yeah, that's it.
And the Rams' offensive line is not good.
It's not good. So it's like I was telling somebody earlier, like sometimes you ask me about players, I'm like, just make it simple. If you stand out, you make plays, you're really good, and that's what Max Crosby does. And you know, other guys need to step up, but I think after the fight, Crosby actually motivated some of his guys, and I think they stepped up. But again, it's during practice, and I really like how the Rams and the Raiders did, at least from my point of view, like the media, like, you know, they let the media stand like in the middle of two fields. You get to watch both fields. And then at one point they made it more like a game setting, and they all went to one field, and they kind of just said, okay, Jimmy, go here, Matthew, go here. And it was kind of like move the ball up the field, 2-minute drill. So, there's a lot of competitive juices, got a game-like setting. So I think that was pretty cool for them to do in a controlled environment. But again, like I saw the Raiders in person, and I just saw Jimmy throwing the ball to dominant Devontae Adams. I'm like, hey, they got some dudes there, so maybe I'm liking the squad. The same thing. I probably would have been doing the same thing with the Rams if Cooper Kupp was out there, but he wasn't. He has the hammy there. But hey,
returning.
I think they might have their joint scrimmages with the Broncos, and he might participate in that. But again, a lot of teams are canceling joint scrimmages, so I don't know. That'll be a for sure
I thought that was interesting. During the Chargers Saints game, they announced that Houston had canceled their joint practices with the Saints. So I don't know if it's because of all the fights, but the Chargers had no fights.
Well, that's the funny thing. Like when I scheduled my my 2 visits for joint scrimmages, I'm like, okay, they might cancel the second one because of fights. So I went to the first one of the Rams Raiders and the first one Chargers Saints. So But yeah, there was only one fight from the 2 days I went to, or I guess all 4 days, right? So, but it was cool to see these joint scrimmages back to back and avoid all the preseason stuff. It's good for Dan. I don't get mad if you're listening to the show. It's good for the people fighting on the 53-man roster, but for the first team, we don't really care.
Yeah, no, it was definitely. I mean, to watch the Saints, there, man, I couldn't remember all the people that were there. Like Jimmy Graham was there. I
Oh
completely
yeah, I
forgot that
forgot
Jimmy
about it.
Graham
When
was
I
there.
saw him, I'm like, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, I was like Jimmy Graham, and then dude, you should have seen on Friday. A bunch of fans gave Jamal Williams like anime stuff. So he came over with like his hands
Really?
full of like anime stuff and like hats and sunglasses and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I was like, Jamal, how are you doing? He's like, man, look at all this free stuff I just got. He's like, the rich only get richer. And I started laughing.
That's
And he's
pretty
like, fans
cool.
are always like giving me stuff. And I just started laughing. And so he was actually pretty cool. I think I told you that I got to cover him when BYU was in San Diego for the Holiday Bowl or the something bowl, one of those bowl games, and he was the MVP of the bowl. And he was actually coming off the field, and I was like, hey, can I talk to you? Yeah, man, let's do it. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't think I could grab him on the field, but I just talked to him. I wrote my article about it, and I sent it in or whatever. And he was awesome. Like, and I even told my boss, I'm like, hey, I got a one-on-one with the MVP. He's like, how? I'm like, I just started talking to him, and he's like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So Jamal's always been a good guy, but they also had, I didn't forget this one. They had the Honey Badger. Lattimore didn't practice the second day, but they had some they have some big names on that team. Cam Jordan, by the way, dude, I know you were over at Saints when this happened, but Cam Jordan is walking by and he looks over and Khalil Mack is talking to us. He's like, can you put on a goddamn shirt? He's like, why are you always shirtless? Nobody wants to see all that. And then Cam turns to me and he goes, you know what? If I looked like that, I would probably have my shirt off too. He's like, that dude looks like he's straight out of Wakanda. And I started dying of laughter. I was like, oh my God.
Does he still have the handlebar mustache?
Who had that? Him?
Cam Jordan had one.
I didn't even see. I mean, you know what? I don't know. I didn't really look at it.
Yeah, you would have noticed, put it that way.
Okay, yeah. Well, he was like, because I was trying to pay attention to Khalil and I was like looking over at him because then Keenan came over and started talking to him. So I don't remember seeing his face all that much, but I just thought it was funny what he was saying to Khalil. So I thought that was a pretty funny comment, but it was good because you had Chargers beat reporters, you had Saints beat reporters, and then you had Raiders beat reporters there trying to interview Derek Carr and some of the other guys, which was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I was next to Adam Hill watching him track down David Carr. It was David Carr. Wow, I did the mistake. Derek Carr. There you go.
David Carr lives vicariously through Derek Carr. Remember, hey, don't forget what he said last year. Derek Carr will be the MVP and they'll win the Super Bowl. David, good thing you didn't put your career on the line because you would have been like Ric Flair. You would have gotten sweet chin music by that prediction. So
that's a good brother support. That's all I take it as. And by the way, shout out to Derek Carr because he did recognize the Raiders media and he went there to talk to him. So that's pretty good. I like when players do that, like when they leave and they come back and they make time. Even the guys like Dennis Allen, a former Raiders player. So that's pretty cool.
And by the way, I got to shout out Adam Hill because he texts me and Thursday and he goes, hey, what time does the train leave you tomorrow? And I'm like, this time, why? He's like, I'll be there for you. And I was like, no, don't worry about it. He's like, dude, I'm going to be there for you. And I was like, I appreciate it. And as soon as I showed up and I got off the train, I hadn't texted him that day. I'm like, hey, the train's pulling up. He's like, yeah, I just saw it. He's like, I'm right over here. I'm like, oh, wow. So he gave me a ride. That was pretty cool. And I basically talked the whole practice, him and Miles and Vic Toffer. So definitely interesting to see those guys. And it was great to see them.
Yeah, that's I got to hang out with them on Thursday. And by the way, before I forget, Fernando, it's funny how people really take the joint scrimmages so seriously. Like, hey, who won the Raiders, the Rams, or the Chargers, or the Saints? And that first day, you were helping me out by keeping eyes on the defense Saints defense. I was there to watch more of the Saints that day, and so I was watching the Saints offense against the Chargers defense, and I guess on social media, there was a couple of videos of Mike Thomas, getting a catch against Derwin James or Olave against Asante Samuel Jr. And people were saying, man, they were cooking the Chargers secondary. And I'm like, it's 1-on-1, 7-on-7. Like it's bound to happen. You might get a PBU or you might get a catch. And that day I wrote a story on Michael Thomas, and I do a Google search, and I'm like, there was like 20 stories saying Michael Thomas torch. Olave torched the Chargers secondary. I'm like, it was 1-on-1. And then when it became to 11 on 11, the full team drill, which is more, you take away more from that. It was a little, that's where I got to remind that it's going to be a little rocky for Derek Carr to move the ball up field. Like, it's not going to be easy to push it down to Olave every single time. But they do have some nice weapons in Jawan Johnson, the tight end. They do have Alvin Kamara, the rookie running back, Keandre Miller. There you go. And Jamal Williams. So if you can push the ball down the field, which we kind of know Derek Carr tends to have an issue with that, a lot of weapons for the intermediate game and the short game. But I just found
Kamara won't be there the first.
Yeah. So, but at least I have the two running backs that lean on there. For that, so at least it's gonna be kind of like the Raider offense with Jimmy G. Like, it might be kind of a slow move it down the field. But I just found it, like, I'm not too worried about their offense, but I just found it how, like, everybody was praising Michael Thomas and Olave for one-on-one drills.
Well, and then I heard because I asked Adam about that, and Adam's like, dude, Khalil Mack and like Joey Bosa were literally like, they would have sacked Derek Carr probably about 6 times each.
When it was 11 on 11, it was an issue.
You know what I think is funny, Gilbert, by the way, when you see pass rushing stuff like that and you see two guys immediately point up in the air and you're like, so which one got the sack? And they're both kind of, especially guys that are like, obviously, like, they're fighting for a spot on the team, and two of them kind of raise their finger, and you're like, either they're acknowledging their tribal chief or they both really want the sack, and you just see them and they're like, oh, I got it. I just start laughing. But see, that was go ahead.
Did you catch the latest episode? Not this week, but last week of Hard Knocks. Like, Quentin Williams kept saying sack for every time he got one against the Panthers.
I got 11 sacks today.
And Aaron Rodgers like, hey, he got 11 sacks over here.
That was, by the way, James Campen. We got to cover him when he was here. Aaron Rodgers just roasting him about his weight was hilarious. Like, I was like, wow. I'm like, you really went in on him. He's like, you got to lay off those Pop-Tarts, dude. He's like, I'm only having one.
You know what's funny? You could tell James Campen wanted to tear him back, but he knew the cameras were there, and Rodgers didn't care about the cameras, but you could tell he's holding back.
He was going to go at him about something about the weirdo stuff that he does, and you know that is for a fact. Like, by the way, somebody did that on the Hard Knock. Somebody said, unless you've been in a cave for 3 or 4 days or something, like, it was some weird comment, but going back to it, I saw one of the Saints, Locked On Saints or whatever. They were like, oh, the Saints secondary locked down the Chargers receivers. And I was like, so over there, the Saints cornerbacks were, or the Saints receivers were toasting the Chargers corners. And over here, the cornerbacks were locking down the receivers. I'm like, the one area I will say that was a little bit worrisome, but the Chargers really didn't have all their guys in there. But still, regardless, was red zone. Red zone, they only got 1 touchdown, and it was off of what's his name? Easton Stick to Stone Smart play. But other than that, there was nothing really
duel.
that, huh?
What a duel.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Stone Smart. I heard a little bit of his journey, and I'm like, oh wow, so he's actually kind of impressive if you kind of hear what his journey's been. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting, the way that there was 2 different narratives and they all kind of changed and everything. I was like, wow, this is interesting. So but yeah, I thought the joint practices were good. It was good to see some people that I hadn't seen in a while. So it was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it just reminded me, let's fast forward to the regular season.
And all sandwiches were gone by the time we were done with interviews on Friday, Gilbert. You weren't there. We had Jersey Mike's. By the time like Vic, Adam, and I got back to the tent, there was only tuna left, and I ain't no tuna person. So I was like, and then Vic's like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy something to eat. And Adam's like, same here. And then they're like, oh, do you want to join us for lunch? And I'm like, oh, I wish I could, but I have to get back I have to get on the train because Dan and Dago has a game. And they're like, oh, okay, well, in Vegas. Or when we come out to LA, I was like, all right, perfect. I was like, there you go.
You guys went 2 days in a row, because that's a lot of Derek Carr coverage there.
Well, no, they also were day 2 was to try and get Khalil Mack.
Okay.
And then Adam was gonna get Foster Moreau. So that's why they went the second day.
A lot of connections there.
And the Raiders were off that day from they were getting ready for their game, so they were like, oh, perfect opportunity. So I was like, oh, and they obviously love me, so obviously that's why they were there too. So.
There you go, nice reunion.
But another person that we love, and I know Gilbert loves, is Dan and Dago. Let's go to him now.
You're coming back to me. Great to see you. How the hell are you doing? I hope you're doing great, having a great week. Do not forget, we also have other channels. We got a little Combat Compass. What? We got a little What's Up Bolts. What? We got a little House of Horns. What? And you're already on the main one, Compass on the Beat. What? And we also, the football season is just barely beginning. So make sure you head over to Compas FC. Then they have you covered for all things the English Premier League, the La Liga, the Champions League, everything. Do not forget to head over there and find it out. Don't forget to be a compa, tell a compa. Shout out to all of you. We love all you guys.
Gilbert, it is now time for. Actually, wait, I have to thank Dan and Dago. Thank you, Dan and Dago, for that. Where am I, man?
We're good. We don't need
Gilbert, it is now time for NFL, or no, for Rapid Fire. I am just all over the place today. Gilbert, the breaking news on Monday was Jonathan Taylor has been given permission by the Colts to seek a trade. By the way, somebody tweeted out his or somebody retweeted Jim Irsay's tweet from 2013. An earthquake is happening. Everybody's gonna be in awe tomorrow when they wake up. And it was when they got Trent Richardson.
oh yeah,
from the Cleveland Browns,
first round pick.
Like, dude, I'm like, what a terrible. By the way, he was in Chihuahua, playing for Chihuahua's football team down there. Trent Richardson, the last time I heard. So yeah, definitely interesting to see him.
Times have changed. Like
him giving up first rounders for a running back, and now to get one, and now he's about to possibly trade for one. Gilbert, who should trade for Jonathan Taylor, and what do you think this is going to look like?
Yeah, first let me kind of give you my background, because I'm actually kind of intrigued to see.
We get it. You used to write in Las Vegas, then you came to the OC Register, and now you're at SI. Oh, you said your background.
No, this background of this trade request, because I'm like, okay, finally, maybe it's a real movement here on the contract market. But then I'm like, we just saw with Austin Eckler, like he was requesting a trade, and the price was too high, and then you don't want to pay it, guys, so it's not even worth it. You see Dalvin Cook,
prices are too damn high.
Has to get released, and the money is still $8.5 million, and you have Saquon trying to ask for 14, 15. There's a big divide there. So I don't know how much Jonathan Taylor, I'm losing track of his running backs. I don't know if he's gonna get what the Colts want, because the first round pick is really high nowadays. And the way I see it, Fernando, if Christian freaking McCaffrey didn't get a first round pick, why does Jonathan Taylor get one? I get it, he's younger, but he ain't no Christian McCaffrey. So that's a really high price for me. And then he's coming off a bad season. I get he was a rushing champion in 2021, but I don't know if they'll get the first round pick because he wants to get paid. So maybe a similar package to the McCaffrey deal, where it was like 4 draft picks, and the highest one you get is the second round pick.
Second round pick, third round pick, fourth round picks in 2023, and then a fifth rounder in 2024.
And they took on that contract of $17 million. But again, Taylor is not McCaffrey. So, but just to give you a team real quick, I was watching Monday Night Football. I would like to see Jonathan Taylor on the Commanders. That's the team I was talking about. Name Victor's team of the season because he brought him up last week. But I feel bad for Anthony Richardson because he could benefit off of the running back like that. But Sam Howell could benefit for sure. The enemy, hopefully McLaurin is okay, and then you got a great defense and a lot of pressure on Ron Rivera. So why not go to the Commanders? Did I take your team?
No. That's exactly the team. I mean, I saw the Dolphins are one of those teams that have been kind of sniffing around. They were sniffing around Dalvin Cook, but I wonder now. I wonder if because it's like we've seen it before. Like you're gonna have to give up draft picks, and then you're gonna have to give up money to pay the guy. So unless somebody's gonna rent it, like maybe a team like the Chiefs rent him for 1 year and just have him on their team for 1 year, and then next year let them hit free agency. And if they win the Super Bowl, they win it.
Yeah.
If not, they don't. But I just don't know how. Somebody's gonna want it. Like, I just don't see everybody being like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see how you're gonna be able to give up all this stuff because they want fair compensation, I guess. And it's like, how are you gonna be able to get everything you want in return? I just don't see it happening, to be completely honest.
I guess, if you're looking at what the Falcons did with Bijan Robinson, they pretty much use a first round pick on the guy, but that's such a much cheaper contract than whatever Taylor's getting. So it's gonna be really tough regardless.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a hard trade to execute. No, it is like Jim Irsay, like what's like because the GM is going to want something. Then Jim Irsay is probably going to be like, no, we need this or we need that. So I think it's going to be tough. The Dolphins would be interesting, but how much? Like, come on, like there's no way they can do all that, and especially with everything that they've given up, and then pay him,
and then pay the guy now.
and then what? You're gonna like it or not, Tua's up. What are you gonna do with him? Like, I just don't see it.
Like at least Dalvin was like, just free and available, and it wasn't going to cost you more than $10 million. So
yeah, exactly. Gilbert's other head coaches around the NFL have canceled joint practices this week. Will we see less joint practices going forward and teams playing their starters in preseason?
I don't. Actually, I did see a notice in a bump of more starters playing this preseason, but I don't think joint practices are going to leave. I think they're a very controlled environment. But maybe instead of doing 2, you just stick to 1. And then it also kind of sucks though. Like if you do plan it and then they cancel last minute, like I wonder how that. Maybe as a player you don't care. But there's something there like that people are noticing that they're trying to hold back. But I do like the joint practices. Like you see some, at least for the media, you see so much more. It's a good competitive environment when it's control. You could be like, hey, you know what? My rookie quarterback needs more work against the first team defense. You want to throw in your first defense guys and then kind of help each other that way. So that's a benefit of that, but maybe limit it from 2 to 1.
I think we will not see more or less joint practices just because, I mean, if you really look at it, like guys like Brandon Staley, Sean McVay, they get more out of that than they do. And this, everybody forgets there's this new age of coaches coming in. Like Andy Reid runs his guys hard. Ron Rivera runs his guys hard. Bill Belichick runs his guys hard, but there's this like they're becoming less and less and less. And this new generation of coaches is coming in and they like joint practice. I think we're going to see more joint practice. And the thing is, everybody wonders like, why have we seen a drop off in people playing? I mean, obviously, like you said, there's been more this year, but remember, we're now at a 17-game season, so they want to rest their guys. Scary Terry McLaurin just got hurt in the Monday night preseason game, so that's what people want to limit, especially a team like the Chargers who have been injury prone. You want to limit as much injuries as you can, so I think that's kind of what they're going to end up doing. Gilbert, which coordinator hired this offseason will have the biggest impact on their team? Ravens OC Tom Monken or Vic Fangio with the Dolphins defensive coordinator?
It would have been a tough question for me because I really like Vic Fangio, but then he lost Jalen Ramsey, so you can't really see the full extent of this defense. And then also it kind of takes like I feel like the Vic Fangio like track record is like it takes 2 years for him to kind of pop off with his defense. So I'm gonna go with Todd Monken. He has not had like the biggest success in the NFL, but he has good experience in the NFL. And then he helped out Georgia with the national championships there. So he's a down the field attack, and I want to see more Lamar Jackson. Like at some point, like, all right, Lamar, like, you're getting older, stop running so freaking much. Throw the ball down the field, and you got Zay Flowers, OBJ, and Rashad Bateman. So let's see what you got in this Monk and aerial attack.
You know what I wish the question kind of was, or this what came into my head. Who has more, or who's on the hotter seat going into both jobs? Why the hotter seat? John Harbaugh, I think it's starting to get a little hot on him. And then even Mike McDaniel, they've given him everything. They've given him Jalen Ramsey, who obviously got hurt, Bradley Chubb. Like you've gotten all these, like that team is stacked. So are the Ravens. The Ravens have kind of got a lot of players too. Who is going to get their coach? Who could potentially get their coach fired? And I think it's Monken, honestly. Like if that offense just does not click with Lamar Jackson, I think John Harbaugh and that team could be I think they could get fired after this season.
Spicy take. It is rapid fire.
I mean, I'm just being honest, but Gilbert, Teddy Bridgewater is wearing number 50 for the Lions. He chose to wear that number, simply adding a 0 to his favorite number. Should quarterbacks wear higher digit numbers or stick to lower digit numbers?
No, Teddy's fine because like he joined the camp so late and he had to play, and okay, fine. It's an exception to the rule, but it was horrendous, hideous. I hate all the number changes. What's happened to traditional values here and keeping the numbers 1 through 20 or 1 through 19 for the quarterbacks? I don't want to see 50 anytime again. So it's been done. Don't do it again, please.
Like I said, I think it's okay during preseason. If you guys want to switch it up during preseason, fine, go ahead and do it. Have some fun. But during the regular season, hell no. I don't want to see that anywhere. Like 1 through 19 or 0 through 19 is fine. Any other number? No, thank you. Gilbert, Tyreek Hill told reporters last week that he does not watch film. He goes on Madden and sees the rating skills, their skill breakdown to see which cornerbacks he's going up against. And I quote, "I feel like Madden has a good tell of how good players are." End quote. Is this something that this generation of NFL players will apply more to their scouting report, or is this just a Tyreek Hill thing?
Please do not. If you're a upcoming player or a young football player that wants to become Tyreek Hill, do not do it. Watch tape. Don't be the next Johnny Football. Not everybody's Tyreek Hill where you're freaking fast and just go straight and catch the ball. That's pretty much his job. Obviously, there's more to it. He's not the best route runner, but he is a good route runner. So there's more to it. But Tyreek can get away with it, not you.
He's a good route runner because he's fast. That's the only
Yeah,
reason.
no,
like, yeah,
okay.
no,
Yeah, I can press and you go down the field and you're good, Tyreek. You don't have to watch.
There's no way he can get away with doing that. Like, there's no way. Like, how many players don't complain about their Madden rating and all this? And I got this wrong, and they got this wrong and that wrong. Maybe Chad Johnson told him, "Hey, now that I'm working for Madden, the numbers are legit." Maybe that's why he looks there. But no, you should not do this. This is just dumb. Gilbert, I said it on the opening. Sugar Sean O'Malley knocked out Sterling over the weekend. He is the champion. Now O'Malley's calling out Gervonta Davis. Would you want to see that?
Yeah, I wanted to get this question in there just because I get so annoyed with this. It might happen, but I do not want to see it because Gervonta Davis will destroy Sean O'Malley. And to his credit, he kind of had that Conor McGregor knockout. He's a good striker and he's a good puncher, and you could tell that he was kind of rusty going against Aljamain Sterling, but he has the punch there, and that really helped him out. But Gervonta is on such a different level; he will destroy him. But I'm just tired of all these UFC fighters wanting a money grab because they don't pay him so well. Dana White, they're always trying to leave to go to boxing.
You know what's funny? I thought that was a great knockout, by the way. Like, he just put him to sleep. I thought that was a great knockout, but I agree with you. I think it's just the money grab, the exhibition thing. Like, hey, let's go get some money. But honestly, Sean, I get you want to do it, but also, like, look at what happened in Conor. Conor hasn't been the same since he got that big money deal from fighting Floyd Mayweather. So if I'm you, maybe go, maybe try. You just barely became a champ. Maybe do it for about a year. And then maybe go.
Okay, it was cool to see him become a UFC champion.
It was.
Everybody wanted him to win because he's such a big superstar, like a rising one. And also he was an underdog, and for him to get it, that was pretty cool to see. And I think he's from the area too, in Boston. Conor McGregor,
Montana.
Oh, okay, really? Okay, I was way
Yeah.
off. So people just love Sugar Sean
Yeah,
O'Malley.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They were saying F Sterling.
And then O'Malley sounds Irish, so I just assume he's from Boston.
No. Well, maybe that's another reason why. But yeah, because one of my friends, she is a reporter out in Montana, and she was at a watch party for O'Malley. So yeah, they said fighting out of Montana fighting out of Phoenix and Arizona via Montana. So
right.
Definitely interesting. Lamar Jackson said last week that he found a couple of routes on social media that were passed on, and then he passed them on to Monken by quarterbacks coach T. Martin. Coach, I quote, Coach Monken liked the play, so he put it in practice, end quote. Is there something you found on social media that you now use in your everyday life?
I feel like I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but it's a lot of things, like more like knowledge. Okay, like things like you could do this with your taxes, or you could do this with your podcast, or you could do this TikTok edit video or whatever. So a lot of things come to mind, but nothing like wild where like it really changed my I don't know, fitness or diet. I don't know, things like that.
Oh, well, that's what I was gonna go with. On obviously social media and like the Pat McAfee show, I guess, in a sense. Like I intermittent fasting, like I was like, oh wow, I was like, that's interesting. And I've been on it now, I think 2 or 3 weeks now. So I was like, oh, I'll check it out, and I've been doing it since. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty. It's not
been
bad.
Longer, Fernando. You're kind of selling yourself short there with the 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh well, okay, well, I don't know. The days now just roll on.
Yeah, I've seen you committed. Like you're waiting for the time to hit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh, dude, on Friday I was, because they moved the practice at 12. Thursday and Friday I was really antsy because they moved the practice at 12 o'clock. I was pissed. I'm like, dude, I'm like over here like,
It makes a difference.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Gilbert, it is now time to bring in the fellas and see how they're doing. Vic, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've recovered from Hurricane Hilary. How about you guys?
You survived it. I'm glad to
I
hear.
survived. I was watching all these survivalist videos, and I made it through, guys.
It was
There you
just a
go.
regular rainy day, right? Like, it didn't
Yeah.
seem like it was
That's what it
anything.
was.
But at least for us, you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring in.
Long have I waited in the lobby.
You gotta do the Spanish version though.
Oh yeah.
Maestro Jedi.
Dude, people really like that video on Instagram.
It was
They
hilarious.
did, right?
I
Like-
was dying.
Like we had over like
I'm
130 likes on it. Like a couple people commented.
I'm gonna get a new virtual thing every week. See what else we got. Maybe we'll go on a Disney theme. Who knows?
Can you give us a line in Spanish? Come on, we got to hear something like evil.
I just said Maestro Jedi. It is no. I was trying to say it's treason. I couldn't
you messed
remember.
up.
Me traicionas.
There you go. There you go. Who eres el chosen one? There you go.
What the hell was that?
El Yosin one. Gilbert, by the way, real quick, Dan and Dago on What's Up Bolts on Sunday night, or Monday morning, he gave you credit for something. So I had to do this. I'm like, you giving Gilbert credit? I can't remember what it was for.
Oh, I know what it was for. It was for him being an absolute heel, but he was on point.
By the way,
The backdrop.
You gotta just wrap me out with the background that I'm using it twice, didn't you? So you're just going 3 for 3.
I did.
I was like, that's Gilberto since Dan shouted him out, and it's Rocky going, "Yo, Adrian, I did it."
Yeah, it was.
I'm like,
you
you had a moment of positivity with Gilberto, and then he's like, "Yeah, I know." And so I had to use that to.
It was when you talked about when coaches in the NFL have to find you positions. That's a problem.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but I did also watch What's Up Bolts, and a shout out to your team, Dan, 1-0. I saw that, so off to a good start.
Oh, yeah, I want to know. I was about to say, what the hell? It's the preseason. Yeah, it was a tough game Friday night. It was a tough game Friday night, honestly.
All right, so this game counted. This was a real deal.
Yeah, obviously. No, it wasn't a scrimmage. Like, I'll give you a brief backstory. We're a young team. We got a lot of sophomores up front. You know, the team we played against, about damn near everyone over 6 foot, 280 pounds. And these kids are, 5'10", 170 pounds, but they were dogs, dude. Credit goes to them. They played their hearts out. They did everything they needed to get the win. They stayed together. They're not afraid. That's the most important part.
Dan, I'm glad you gave us that assessment there, because sometimes I don't care, but today I care because you won. But let's have fun every week and make it a segment where, like, if your team wins, give us a victory speech of what happened. 1 minute uninterrupted. I won't say a joke. I won't even laugh. Give us cliche after cliche saying that the guys put their heart on the field and they're really supported. It's times like this, like, I really love my squad. You can say things like that.
But with the Palpatine voice.
Yeah.
You must be the worst in press conferences. You probably hear like some of these guys say those things. You're like, okay, bullshit, lie.
And then you can even thank the person upstairs if you want for your victory speech.
God.
But then the catch is, Dan, if your team loses, I will give you a "you suck, you're worthless, you stink" motivational speech. Is that okay with you?
You're a scumbag. That doesn't motivate me at all. How dare you, sir?
Are you okay with that?
You?
So every week I'll check in with you and ask if you win, you say what you want. If you lose, I will push you to the edge. There you go.
I have it's funny. I have a picture of you hanging up at home in the mirror. And every time I'm thinking it's time to go to sleep, I'm like, I got to outwork this son of a gun.
There you go. See?
He's watching me.
There you go. I like that.
Gilberto's going to mock me any second, dude.
Well, congrats to the CIF Division 4 team being 1-0.
Is he trying to mock me right now? We're about to have a problem. Don't you dare talk about that's my team.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Give me your takeaways, fellas.
Don't you dare talk about my team like that. Let me tell you, watch your mouth, guy. Let me talk to you. Because let me tell you something. When it's Dan and Dago,
yeah.
I can't wait till John Cena serves him up next week. That's gonna be fun.
Hey, maybe this year I go to a football game on Friday night. Yeah, how about that?
Come down, dude. Come down. You already know you're always welcome. You should have seen how angry Frau got the other day when we were watching Money in the Bank because I didn't have the time to because of football and stuff like that. He was so pissed off because little Daniel was there, and he was forcing him to watch the Royal Rumble with LA Knight to watch LA Knight.
So I don't get Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus, two legends, just so that clown can throw somebody out. And how many spots did he miss? 2 or 3 spots. He did the same thing in the Money in the Bank. He missed 2 or 3 spots.
Over here.
So bad.
Haters? We got the haters.
Way back.
Don't get me started on them. They had real clout behind them, and they broke them up. But whatever. All right, Vic. Dan already went, and you decided to bullshit with LA Knight. So now, Vic, go ahead.
By the way, some breaking news: the Ravens streak is finally over.
Oh, they lost.
They just lost. So I've been keeping track.
Who said it? Somebody said that they were gonna take that L. Who did it? Somebody on the commander said it.
Who cares? It's preseason.
I know. I just thought it would be fun.
That's funny.
You know what's one thing I'm sick of? Why has every Hard Knocks besides shut up, Brown? Besides, I'd give Detroit credit. I feel like Hard Knocks is so boring now. What the hell happened?
Rex Ryan's not there anymore.
Yeah. After the Jets with Rex Ryan, it's been so boring. I'm sick of it.
And you can't cut now. They're not going to show people getting cut.
Well, that was always kind of hard to watch, but I mean, like, yeah, I hate the fact that they call cut wave. What the hell are you waving at? He's not coming back. You're not saying hello. You're saying goodbye, dude. Get out.
Well, you could say hello. Welcome to the practice squad.
Yeah, right. Like 5 guys get that.
I don't want to be that guy, Dan, but you get waived when you're like a guy who has like 3 or 4 years less in the league. If you're a veteran, you get released. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
It's stupid.
Did not know
it's
that.
all stupid. They all get cut.
And then
the young guys get waived this time of year. But then I like to play it safe and it's a little more harsh. But they got cut. You're not getting it wrong.
We all understand that. We all. Well, most of us have played.
You're not getting that one wrong.
Yeah, you're not gonna get it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the things that's kind of made it bad for Hard Knocks is that they've allowed the teams to be more in control of what they air. So that's been another thing too. So it's not like
stupid.
Yeah.
Dude, you remember, I'll never forget this, when it was Gruden's Raiders on Hard Knocks. You had all the reports coming out during training camp of Antonio Brown and a bunch of other things and this and that. Yet apparently on gosh dang, Hard Knocks didn't make you believe they were hunky-dory over here singing, Kumbaya around the campfire. It was such a joke.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Vic.
I was just gonna I know we're not going to get to talk baseball for a while, so I just wanted to bring up there's been this little
baseball that's still on.
Yes, it is still going on, and I just want to give credit to the Dodgers. There's a little thing going around with like a meme or something about, it's called the Dodgers cheat code lab, and it's about they put all these players that they brought in this season and how much better they're doing now with the Dodgers, guys like JD Martinez, Jason Hayward, David Peralta, Kike Hernandez, Ahmed Rosario, Lance Lynn, Ryan Brazier, Joe Kelly, Ryan Jarbro. It goes on, and like this was supposed to be a gap year for the Dodgers, and somehow like they're running away with the division again. Like this was supposed to be a really good division between the Dodgers and the Padres, and the Padres have turned into Hurricane Hilary. Like there was a lot of anticipation and nothing happened with them. So in terms of once they got here to California, but it's just remarkable what they've been able to do with for the last 12 seasons. Of course, this doesn't translate to the postseason, so I might as well bring it up now because they're mostly a regular season team. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Friedman and the Dodgers front office just do us a favor and remind us when the playoffs start, and we'll get back. I will. It's
Who
in
cares
October.
about baseball? It's over. They don't even hit each other, for God's sake. There's no more collisions. It's a joke. You're standing around for 90% of the game. It's a joke.
All right, Senator, calm down.
Senator, I am Darth Sidious. I am the Chancellor.
There you
Oh,
go.
sorry,
Oh, that's
Darth
what I
Sidious.
got it wrong. He's a chancellor. My bad.
The attempt on my life has left me
And by the way,
scarred and deformed.
I got it wrong for my Star Wars reference right there. He's a chancellor. You got it wrong when you said going into light speed, or you couldn't get it right.
Hyperspeed. Yeah, I couldn't
Hyperspeed.
remember which one it was.
You got it wrong on
Hyperspeed,
what's on
light
both.
speed.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. Hey,
It's time
how many
for-
parsecs? 12 parsecs. I got that one right, I think.
It's time for burial of the week. Dan, I'm gonna let you have it because this one's funny, actually.
Oh, I was upset. I hate media, just period. And then
Thanks.
shrink it to, I'm not gonna get into it, but there were some naughty things on the Twitter in some local news that I did not appreciate and I was not very happy about. I saw some tweet, from some stooge account predicting certain scores on a certain Friday night I was not happy with. And let me tell you something, the boys showed out and they did what they do. Shout out to them. Like I said, they've got the heart of a lion and that's what they got to do. Come in pissed off with, a bunch of piss and vinegar in their heart and their Napoleon hats ready to conquer the world. I can't stand, honestly, this is a pet peeve of mine. I hate doing, I guess because this is different, but I hate doing scores. Scores to me and predictions are so stupid. And especially now that,
He always fights me on them on what's a bold shirt.
Yeah, I hate scores. It's so stupid to me. Like, I was just really annoyed. I was really annoyed, obviously, because I'm coaching and it was, about a certain team that I wasn't, I didn't like what they put. So, I mean, it is what it is. But,
bulletin board material? Yes, bulletin board?
Yeah, I showed that to the boys today. I was like, I got 4 hours of sleep on a Thursday night or 3 hours of sleep. Let me tell you what pissed me off. And I put it up there. I was like, fellas, this has got to piss you off. Like, you've got to find, I'm not going to get too much into it, right? See, I'm a master motivator, as you can tell. Every single time we have a meeting, it's in the classroom, right next to the coach's office. There's a, what's it called? There's a trophy case there. And I always ask them, fellas, what's in there? They're like runner-ups. I'm like, who the hell wants to be number 2? I was like, let me tell you something. I told them a quick story today, and then I'm going to get it because I'm starting to get fired up and pissed off. I'm not trying to get, anything out there. But I was like, let me tell you something. My high school year, my senior year, I graduated. I was my senior year after the season, I was at the football banquet. We were a powerhouse essentially from guard to guard. And, our tackles were all right, but they weren't into it like we were. It's like we were a powerhouse. We were.
They'd be on the sidelines talking about video games during losses.
Yeah,
and Dan would come over and he'd yell at.
Yeah,
like,
I'm fiery, dude.
One time, like some kids, like,
oh,
I quit. Like I don't want to do this anymore. And you could hear from the top of the stands Daniel cussing him out.
Well, it was the
and
Holy
that
Bowl.
parent turns and looks at that kid's parent turns and looks at my mom and me, and we just go.
It was the Holy Bowl. You can't do that. But anyway, I told the kids, I was like, hey, fellas. Center and guards, I was the left guard or whatever. They both got first team all league. I got second team all league. Guess what I did with that, piece of paper as soon as I left that banquet? And of course, everyone knew me and they're like, you threw it away, coach. I'm like, you're damn right I threw it away because who the hell wants to be number 2? You got to bust your ass and grind to make sure you outwork the sons of bitches in front of you. And you're going to catch up to them every single day because hard work always beats talent. Shout out for all the cliches, dude.
Yeah.
Put up the ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Put
Yeah.
All
right.
Here.
I'm done. So I'm done. I hate that stuff. It just really, I take stuff like that personal and it gets me fired up. I still think like a player sometimes in that aspect, but it is what it is.
Vic, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know you guys kind of touched on it and what's up, bros. And like my biggest problem with the whole Hurricane Hilary thing was not only did everybody get into a whole panic mode and everybody's trying to get sandbags, trying to get prepared for it, and because the local news is making a big deal out of it. But I think my biggest problem with it was just seeing toilet paper run out. Like, I'm like, why are we?
You guys had that in LA? Really?
Yes. And what, like the water thing, I understand. The toilet paper thing, I just don't understand. Like, I was having
It's
a conversation.
a luxury, not a necessity. Exactly.
Like, why are you taking? And I saw this when you go to Costco, you'll see people, walking out with 3 cases, 4 cases, and I'm just like, why? Like, there's no reason for you to, load up on toilet paper during a hurricane for, something that's going to be gone in 2 days, like, I'm sorry, like, that just did not make sense to me. And that was my biggest, so my burial this week has to be just people buying, loads of toilet paper for no reason.
Victor, I was kind of like that too. I'm like, man, like, what are we worrying about? Maybe I'll order a little extra food on Saturday. That way I don't have to go out. But then that was about it. And then not the hurricane, the earthquake hit. I'm like, oh crap, I should probably start preparing here because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson told me San Andreas falls. So
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. That was such a crappy movie.
big earthquake, all right. That's the only thing.
All of a sudden, hold the tectonic plates. That way they don't shift. And he's doing it. Look at The Rock.
Hey, but I don't know. Like I'm sometimes I find myself thinking like, when we do live in California, when's the big one gonna hit? And then like you just don't really try to think about it. But it's like, maybe
what he's doing for now. He's trying to curse the people of California. What's his problem? What's his problem over here? Trying to bring the Gilberto curse.
He's ready.
There we go.
Nemesis. What's biggest nemesis? Let me tell you something. You've got a lot of nerve to show your face. A lot of nerve.
Hurricane.
That's the only hurricane we should have been worrying about.
Yeah.
Look at that. That was before the juice allegedly shot out.
Oh yeah.
Look at his veins, and he's almost 60. Get out of here, dude. Someone test this pee.
Okay. We don't need to bash the great one.
At the hate.
He's not even better than Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was only there for half the time.
All right, I'm gonna go
He got
next.
hurt.
I'll let Gilbert go last. Michael Jordan Jr., what are you doing, dude? Like, what the hell? Like, come on. This has been since the beginning of time. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to
Get in trouble.
Hey,
Walk the tightrope, Frau.
But do you really need another Jordan and Pippen connection to get a 7th ring? Like,
Another ring.
get out of here with this. Like, remember, you are a pretty high up there when it comes to the Jordan brand. You're making a lot of money. Be careful. I'm just saying, be careful. But she used to babysit him, and now they're about to get married.
He's like 60.
I know. Hey, she still looks good though. But I mean, come on, like
Not to marry though.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, she's
what
been with other
Alberto's saying
NBA
is, don't
players
be
and stuff.
Captain Save a Hoe. It's over. Dude. You had your fun.
All right, let
Don't
the hate
do
come
it.
out now.
All right.
You said
Gilbert,
it. I
go
did.
ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of bad things. I'm like, that's your dad's good friend's ex-wife, and she baby. Okay, if you want to have
she's a
fun,
predator.
But you know that
She's
there's
a
beef between
predator.
MJ and Scotty because Scotty comes out and he says, "Oh, LeBron's the GOAT," when you know in fact that like Michael Jordan was your teammate and everything, but you could tell they don't get along. But even Mike was like, I remember TMZ caught him outside of a restaurant in Miami, and he's like, I don't approve of that. And Lars is like, I need to do a better job so that he can approve. Dude, he's never gonna approve of this. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just all around bad. Like when I saw that they were about to get married, I'm like, dude, like,
Well, didn't she like start cheating on Scotty with her son's friends? Like, is that really marriage material to you? Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, I don't
Like, what
know.
do we
I don't know
think?
what all that is, but
Late night with the Compas. We're giving out dating
Yeah, again,
advice
you're
here. Here we
wild.
go.
Michael Jordan Jr. should invite Future to the
That was another.
Dude, I want to tell you this. Well, you know what I'd love to see in the NFL
no
season?
Future, no Russell Wilson, no
That's what I was gonna say. You know what I'd love to see in the NFL season? I don't want to see anything other than Future show up to a Broncos home game and get a box, dude.
All right, Gilbert. And
yeah, it's gonna be a tough one to follow there, but I don't really care for superhero movies. I don't even care for DC.
Really?
I do not. Okay, yeah, I was gonna remind you again, Victor. I do not, absolutely not. But it's kind of like the Hurricane Hilary covers. Like, it annoyed me how everybody just started crapping on Blue Beetle.
Really?
They did not give it a chance to do anything. I just saw a lot of people. It's gonna bomb because it's a minority filled cast. I'm like, who just says that? And I get it. They're not getting heavily promoted, and it is DC. But like Miguel from Cobra Kai, I don't even know how to pronounce your full first name. Your real name.
Marihuana.
Cholo. There you go, Cholo. But Miguel did a great job with Cobra Kai. Go support a fellow Latino and go watch the movie. Don't fall for the TikTok saying it's gonna be a terrible DC movie. And even if it sucks, like I might even just watch it just to support the guy because
You haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it.
I'm going tomorrow.
But I'm not gonna fall for all the TikTok bashing video reviews. I'm like, I'm gonna go support eventually, and even if it sucks, I'm gonna say it was great because I want you to watch it and support the guy and have more Latino filled cast.
It's got a great soundtrack, by the way.
Well, it didn't do him any favors that the strike is going on right now, so they didn't really promote it all that.
And then
much.
the hurricane in LA.
They should have stopped it. I think the thing that's hurting it the most is that like Marvel's kind of bombed as of late, and so is DC. So I feel like that's kind of what's hurting it the most. And then obviously the Flash wasn't what everybody expected it to be.
Better.
So
but I just want it to be like, okay, the next time you want to have a full Latino cast for a superhero movie, I'm like, look at the numbers of Blue Beetle. It sucked. Why are we gonna do that again? Like, I don't want that to be a thing in people's minds. Just
make a good product and people will flock to it. Dude.
I don't know. But
actually,
I can't say anything because I haven't watched the movie. So
I haven't seen it.
I'll give you guys my review. I'm gonna go watch it tomorrow. So
there you go.
Some people were trying to make fun of it, saying it's a ripoff from Ant-Man. So let me know if that's the case.
That means your guy's gonna be in there. What's his name?
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena.
Imagine
I'm kidding. I don't know. It has. You know what? I think a lot of people hate George Lopez too. And then
comedians do.
He doesn't prop up. He doesn't help or prop up anybody else. So like,
I was gonna say,
I feel like that kind of gets a lot of hate too.
Going off of that, here's one thing I hate. I hate. Yeah, I'm done with him. One thing I hate. I hate when celebrities run their mouths on red carpets or whatever, and then they get the backlash and they're like on Instagram at home, guys. I didn't mean my words to get taken out of context and It's like, dude, shut up. You ran your mouth. You're getting paid. You're in the public eye.
You're talking about Snow White. We get it.
You better stand in the box and take the heat, dude. That's all I'm saying. Don't be crying and complaining later.
All right. A clip of Rich Eisen.
Not just her, they all do it.
A clip of Rich Eisen interviewing Christopher Nolan from 2020 is making the rounds with Eisen asking Nolan what his remote drop movie, whenever you're watching television or you see a film that's your favorite, like you obviously drop and you start watching it. So Gilbert, why don't you start it off?
By the way, his was Talladega Nights, which why
that's a good one.
That's why it's and going back to what Dan and Diego was saying, if you're not first, you're last. Right?
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. That's damn right. That's gospel truth.
You know, my favorite movie is Remember the Titans. Anytime Remember the Titans on, I will
definitely
watch.
No, it's not.
It's not. I am
You're
so
a terrible person.
movie.
I'm not even gonna say what I'm thinking right now.
I'm also the type of person I don't get people who collect movies or whatever. Used to have DVDs and VHS. Like I don't like to watch movies again. Like I've seen it once. That's enough for me. But maybe a couple comedies if it comes on. Like you mentioned the Will Ferrell. Like I love watching Step Brothers or even Wedding Crashers, things like that. But I don't really like. Oh, I gotta watch the movie again.
With Will Ferrell.
What was that?
It's not with Will Ferrell.
No, I'm talking about
No, I know.
With
you
the
know what I
tall
meant.
guy,
I went from one movie, Fernando, to a different movie, Fernando.
I know.
And
I know
he is in Wedding Crashers, by the way. Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy that goes to funerals.
Mom, Meatloaf. There you go.
Fact checked.
But
yeah, you're right.
Comedies, I could watch again, but for the most part, I really don't really care. And real quick, Victor, I watched that movie, Everything Everywhere. I did not like it. So
no, it's not for you. Not
I will not watch it again, but people have said it's really good.
Well, I'm gonna rescue this. The Dark Knight. If The Dark Knight's on, I'm definitely gonna stop everything. I'm gonna watch it just because I think Heath Ledger was brilliant in that movie, and obviously he literally like when they say leave it all out on the field, he left it all out in the field. So
what's your favorite scene?
It has to be when he first sees when what's her name first sees him what's her name
Rachel Dawes.
Rachel Dawes. When Rachel Dawes first
You
sees
know how I
him,
got these scars.
yeah,
No.
yeah, and he's like, you remind me of my. He's like, and you are beautiful, which I mean, he had to act there because she ain't beautiful. But he's like,
That is the one downside of that movie.
Yeah, I
Trying
know.
to
He puts his,
friggin'
like blade through the.
Trying to dunk on the Gyllenhaals,
He
dude.
kind of goes, and then he like turns to the guy and he's like, "We will not give in to people like you." He's like, "You remind me of my father." He's like, and I hate. And he grabs the guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was great because nobody had seen him up to that point with the. I read nobody had seen him with the makeup on, so I thought that was great. And then the other one is the prison scene when they announced that Lieutenant Gordon is now Commissioner Gordon, and he just starts clapping out of nowhere. Like, I think that's fantastic.
The interrogation to me is the best part with him.
Oh,
Where
yeah,
he's
the
laughing
interrogation
at
is
Batman's
good.
face, and he gives
I
him the
don't
wrong
wanna kill
address
you.
on purpose. Yeah.
What would I do without you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me is a hospital scene.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good.
Have you read that was like that they only had one take and that Nolan had thought he had effed it up, and like Nolan was so pissed when he started playing with the remote and then he detonates the whole thing and he's like, whoa, like that was brilliant. So yeah, I saw that interview with Nolan was like, yeah, I was so pissed at him, but it ended up being a great scene. So
Shout out.
Vic, go ahead.
Mine is The Winter Soldier. That was the first movie, even before I met Megan, that I saw in the Marvel universe. I had never I was not interested in anything to do with the MCU. I went with
You were like Gilbert.
Yeah, I was like Gilbert. I was a hater. So my sister and my brother-in-law actually invited me. We went out to Simi Valley to watch it. I didn't really care, and ever since then, if that movie is on, and it's my favorite MCU movie till this day. I'll watch it anytime it's on. It's a great spy thriller. It shouldn't be a superhero movie. It should just be a spy thriller with how good it is. So for me, it's The Winter Soldier.
Dan?
That one was one of the best ones. For me, I'm going to piggyback off of that one. I love Civil War. Like, I think Civil War is one of the best ones out there. I know we're kind of all jumping on the superhero train, but Civil War to me is such a, tough movie to watch, especially the dynamic between
Bucky and
but that whole triangle between him and Iron Man and Captain America, or Steve Rogers and Tony Stark and all that, like that to me was absolutely insane. And everything else, I still think it's their best one, maybe besides one of the Guardians, but the Guardians is right behind it.
I was gonna go with Guardians, but then I'm like, it's just the soundtrack with Guardians. You can't beat that.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great.
Did you watch number 3 yet?
Yes.
I saw number 3. I was like, it doesn't have the same magic to me the first 2 had. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's more of Rocket's story. That's why. And
and I get that, but I mean, like, I was like, I don't know, it just didn't have the same magic, and
the music isn't as good for me on number 3.
That was the other part. Yeah.
There's only one movie that excites Dan coming up, and that's Snow White. But
obviously, the 1937 version. Thank you. I'm gonna watch that soon.
I thought it was 1935.
No, 37. Don't worry. Someone needed to entertain the people who were depressed in the depression.
Great Depression film.
Walt Disney said, "I got you." Let me tell you.
But we appreciate you guys so much for checking out another episode of Compas on the Beat. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to check out everything else on Compas on the Beat. You can head to compasonthebeat.com. You can head over to compasonthebeatmerch.com. You can also head over to House of Horns and What's Up Bolts. Obviously, the four of us have done our respective episodes for both shows. And like we told you guys on What's Up Bolts, I used an arrow reference. I'm like, we won't leave you again. So for the rest of the season, both shows will be kicking and ready to go. Don't forget to check out Combat Compas, and don't forget to check out Compas FC. For all your football needs. But we appreciate you guys so much again for checking us out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, be a compa, tell a compa. And I cannot wait for John Cena to serve up LA Knight, but obviously they're not going to do that. They're going to protect him and probably team up with John Cena.
Get him, Vic. Get him.
But we appreciate you guys so much. Again, do not forget the season is getting closer. So what does that mean? More compas on the beat. So for the time being, Gilberto, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
One question. Are you guys ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. That was terrible. Ya nos vamos, pues. Vámonos. Yeah.